Hi everyone, Gnev here. After Blizzard's recent downfall, a lot of players are searching for a new home. If you are one of those players looking for a class to play in Wrath, where you'll get invited to every raid, or if you are a WotLK veteran who enjoys discussions on the game, I made this video for you. I hope you'll enjoy it. What makes a class needed? In my opinion, it's the utility they provide. Every class can dish out damage or healing, but what can your class provide to the raid that no other one can? Let's begin with the warrior. Fury is one of the most fun specs to play in the game, therefore everyone will want to play a warrior. They do have some utility in Thunder Armor, Commanding Shout and Piercing Howl, which can be used in niche situations such as slowing the Valkyries in the Lich King fight. But in my opinion, those spells, keeping in mind that a lot of people will want to play a warrior, aren't enough to place them high on this list. Warriors get a C. I want to go over Hunter next to show what true utility is. As threat is still a mechanic in Wrath, unlike in retail, Misdirection is one of the most useful spells in the game. Lady Death Whisper after the mana barrier ends, the Princess on Pool, Raging Spirits in the Lich King transition, and the big adds on Hellion would be almost impossible for the tank to hold without this spell. But that's not all. Hunters also have Tranquilizing Shot for Shambling Horrors and Saviana in the Ruby Sanctum. They have Freezing Trap on Sorfang adds and Distracting Shot for Volitia zombies. All of these things, combined with the fact that not many people play Hunter, earns them an S rating. For our first caster on the list, we have the Warlock. Warlocks provide a lot of utility in health stones that nobody ever uses, soul stones that every warlock forgets exist, and summon stones for which you have to beg them to drop. They are mostly brought to the raid as Demonology because of the Dark Pact buff that gives the entire raid spell power, and their improved Shadow Bolt talent that gives a bonus 5% crit for casters. All of those are really useful. But the problem is that you only really need one Warlock per raid, which is why Warlocks get a B. When WotLK Classic gets released, a lot of people will rush to make a DK, and for good reason. They are incredibly OP in the first few patches. But here we're talking about utility, and they don't lack in that department either. Frost DKs, along with tanks who know what they're doing, give the raid the improved Icy Talons talent. This gives the raid a really big melee haste buff and is almost necessary in 25-man raids and 10-man physical DPS groups. Unholy DKs also usually run the Crypt Fever talent, which increases disease damage on their targets, buffing the Shadow Priests and Warlocks. All of these things, combined with the fact that the DKs are also one of the strongest tanks in the game, earns them an A. Now for the Shaman. I have one word for you: Heroism. The strongest spell in the game. What other spell has the power to shut up every DPS player on Discord so they can focus on their rotation? None. Apart from heroism, they also have strong utility in their totems. Usually, one shaman in the raid is enough, but having two of them means that you'll have the added benefit of bonus totems. If you roll a shaman, you'll never have to worry about a raid spot. S. The Mage. Undisputed kings of single target, this fireball throwing, DPS pumping blaster gives absolutely nothing to the raid other than its damage and a small intellect buff. Unfortunately for all the mages out there, we get the D. I've gotten worse things. Next, we have the Rogue. Rogues, coupled with the mages, have the least responsibility in raid. Their only job is to throw out tricks of the trade at the beginning of the fight and expose armor in some situations. However, Tricks of the Trade is such a powerful spell, giving more aggro to the tank and making the small adds in the Ruby Sanctum killable, that the rogues earn the B tier. Now we come to the jack of all trades, the Druid. The buff they give is strong in itself, but what druids are mostly brought for is their combat res and innervate. Innervate might not be necessary if your healers are really good, but let's be real, we all make mistakes, which means that combat res always gets value. These things combined with the druid's versatility lands them in the A tier. Priests are often described as a support class. They have to carry hundreds of candles for their buffs. Just don't ask me where they keep them. The stamina, spirit, and shadow resistance are always helpful. Also, they are able to cast Divine Hymn in those really clutch situations, and Hymn of Hope to help the healers with mana. Shadow Priests also have the Vampiric Embrace buff that passively heals the raid, and mana replenishment from Mind Blast. For all those reasons, and because not too many people play them, Priests get an A. As I know a lot of people love their Paladins, including me, I save them for last. Prot Paladin might be the single most needed spec in the game, as they are really difficult to execute on the Lich King fight. Probably the strongest off-tanks in the game. Holy Paladins are the kings of healing, with Judgment of Light being so broken, often being more than 50% of their healing. And Reds are an amazing support class with Aura Mastery, Hand of Sacrifice, and the mana replenishment from Judgment of Wisdom. It's not rare that you see a raid with 5+ Paladins, and for that reason, they earn an S. Thank you for watching, everyone. This was a really fun subject to tackle. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video, as it really helps me out a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.